Everybody, this morning. We had a couple matches this past weekend and able to survive both of them in 4 sets. Good Michigan team at home on Friday and then on the road at Northwestern, which was a bit of a grind on Sunday, but we got through it. Give our players a lot of credit for making adjustments and being prepared and doing a really good job. But what a tremendous weekend for Purdue athletics. I think we're all aware of that. And men's basketball team was tremendous in their tournament, which just builds excitement. And then for Coach Brahm to be sitting at 7-4. Few people around the community weren't expecting that, by the way. But he's at 7-4, looking to go 8-4. Good stuff. Wrestling team had a nice event here at home and did well. And I know Katie had their first loss in women's basketball, but they will probably bounce back tonight against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. So anyway, we've got our hands full with our in-state rival on Friday, Indiana, who won convincingly yesterday over Iowa, 3 straight at home. So I've been watching them most of the morning, trying to do our best to be prepared for a team that would love to come in and spill the beans here on Friday. And also later on this week getting ready for Nebraska, who's fighting for a Big Ten championship, as are we currently. And so it's nice to, this late in the season, still have a shot at the Big Ten title, because that doesn't happen very often. So proud of the team, excited about this week, and ready for questions.
Dave, I think 3 weeks ago you said we're not talking about what we have to do to win a Big Ten title. Do you start talking about that now? I know there's still a lot of variables that have to kind of play in your favor, but is that...
No, you're right, Sam. We got to that point where we lost to Michigan State, and we just decided to quit, mentioning that, because quite frankly it looked like it was out of the realm of possibility. We just wanted to get better every day, which is always our goal. Get better every day, compete as hard as possible, play together, all those kinds of things. And then once we just started to relax and focus on one match at a time, then we started beating people. We got healthy, got our players back, and I think in their own mind they started to realize we got a shot at this. It would have been nice yesterday if Minnesota could have held on and won that 4th set. That would have made it to where we could control our own destiny. Now we can't. Big match Friday at Wisconsin, Nebraska at Wisconsin. For us to have any chance to share the title, Nebraska would have to win at Wisconsin, and then we would have to beat Nebraska here, providing we beat Indiana on Friday. So that's kind of the scenario, and it's fun to think about. But quite honestly, there's a big season that follows this one, and so it's important that we don't try to do overkill this week. I mean, we want to get prepared for those two, but we've been going, minus the 2 months this summer, we've been going hard for 12 months. And so I think it's important that we're watching really carefully how our players look, and make sure that we're going to be fresh, not just for Friday and Saturday, but next week when the NCAA tournament starts on either Thursday or Friday. So there's a lot of things you got to be looking at here. And at this point in the season, every team has players that are banged up and need rest and need attention, and then a lot of them just need some emotional rest. So we're conscious of that.
I was going to ask how this weekend sets up, knowing what's coming after this, where you get a Friday, Saturday, you get your rival, and then you get possibly a championship match on Saturday, which I'm sure is going to be a great environment, and that's a great catapult, I think, into the NCAA tournament.
Well, so thankful that we've sold out every Big Ten match, and they'll be knocking the doors down this weekend with home football being here on Saturday, with Indiana in volleyball on Friday, and then Nebraska with maybe a chance to win the Big Ten, certainly a chance to finish second at worst in the Big Ten, which is something we haven't done, I think, since 2011. So yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I know our players are really, really looking forward to it. But in the meantime, we have to get rest, and we have to also train and get better. but something that I know that everybody is pretty excited about.
What is the takeaways from this weekend where you played, frankly, two opponents that you should beat, and you took care of business? So,
well, we had to go to the bench and get some good play from some people. Taylor Trammell came in both matches and did a really nice job. I think J.L. Johnson is back to top form. She's been giving us one good match after another. Caitlin Newton's playing at a terrific level. She is jumping out of the gym and hitting the ball with great power. Young players are getting better all the time. So, we've taken great pride for many, many years in development of players and team. And as we've talked about before, I'm just so proud that here we are still with 21 players. Nobody's left. We still have 21 players on this roster, and they've been remarkable in their ability to put the team over themselves. And everybody wants to play. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to play, and they should. But they also recognize that we have a coaching staff that has some kind of a clue as to what's going on, and they believe in us like we believe in them, and that's really important.
Thank you for your time today, Dave. We saw probably two of the most athletic plays of the year this past weekend with Haley Bush's diving kill that soared over the Michigan back line.
That's a good play.
And then Jenna chasing down that long one at Northwestern. Is that something that you guys train them to do, or is that just the experience and the knowledge
Well,
of this
you
team?
certainly don't train the play by Bush. I mean, that was kind of a freak play. I mean, she's just trying to keep the ball off the floor, but the angle that she was going at projected the ball back on the other side of the court where nobody happened to be, and it was a big play at a big time. Understand, Michigan's really good. Michigan's going to beat some people in the NCAA tournament. They may barely get in based on their record and RPI, but look for them to beat some people when they get in there. And then the play against Northwestern was kind of a Sports Center top 10 type of a play, in my opinion. The ball was dug. I think Bush dug it, and it went probably 30 feet off the court into the fairly new bleachers at Welsh Ryan Arena. And it was neat to see it a couple of times on tape to see how Jenna avoided colliding with those bleachers, but yet still making an incredible play. And then Mo brought it back over, and then the icing on the cake was to see Newton thunder one to the floor, so he actually won the point. So that was a great play. You're right; those are two really, really fun plays to watch.
Probably top 10 plays of the year in the Big Ten, honestly. But the next question is just with Thanksgiving coming up, you have IU and Nebraska in a close weekend after the holiday. Does the holiday season kind of add or subtract to keeping the girls focused on the task at hand?
I think considering there's break for students, it's nice to have that and keep them together. And normally we have that Thanksgiving if we're in town at our house, but because we have so many people this year on our team and with everybody associated, we're going to have it here in Mackey somewhere, maybe the Spurgeon Club or somewhere. So I like to keep them still together. I don't want them to splinter and head for different parts of the country or the state. I like to keep them together. I think some families are coming here to be able to share time with them. But I think it's important we stay together. So in that regard, I think that Thanksgiving is helpful because we can use that as a symbolic gesture to keep them all here. But at the same time, athletes and coaches and staff need time away from each other also. So we'll have Thanksgiving here, but we're not going to lock them inside the doors and make them stay here for a long time. We'll let them kind of do what they need to do.
Dave, I think the goal of any team before the season is to maximize their talent. Do you feel like this team has hit its maximum in terms of how they've played this season?
Well, I think we're playing really well. I think we're competing at a high level, and it's a team that seems to be very engaged in what's going on. Even the match yesterday where we knew going in we have to win this match to have this week to look forward to. That's hard to coach that match. I don't know for sure how it is to play it. I just know it's hard to coach that match. And I tried. I'm glad I had the mask on so there weren't a lot of facial expressions that people could read as easily. But it's tough, and you get kind of, I don't know what the word would be, but not positive. You get a little negative sometimes. And you just trust your team that they're going to get it done. And at the end of the day, you think it was just a grind and just a grueling type match, and you watch it on tape, and it wasn't nearly as bad as it was when I was there watching it live. And we did a lot of good things, as we always do. But we have really good athletes. So when you have really good athletes, you always feel like there's room for growth. And I go back and, the deal with playing the 3 juniors on the outside, how we shared time with them. Well, that's looking pretty good right now because we feel confident going to all of them. Maddie Chin comes in against Michigan, where she's from, and had a really good match to close the door against them on Friday. Maddie Cook comes in, goes 3 for 4 at a crucial time when we were down. We brought Trammell and Cook both in when we were down in that 4th set at Northwestern. They both respond really well. So I think there's still a lot of room for growth. And teams that shut the door on that right now aren't going to advance very far in the NCAA tournament. That's a mindset that we have to get better every day, and there's things that we can do. And some of it may not be on the volleyball floor. Some of it may be in a film room. I look at Raven, who's had a great freshman campaign. And I go back to the match she had against Michigan State where they were so active with their offense, she was a little lost because that was an awful lot for a freshman to follow. Well, she was a little bit that way Sunday against Northwestern, just a little bit. And so we'll have her back in for some film this week, and I think she's a responder. I mean, she likes to respond. It's okay if she doesn't play well because it normally means she's going to be pretty good the next night.
Lastly, if you were able to win this week against Indiana and Nebraska, make your case to be the last number 1 seed and host a regional.
Well, first of all, I'll share this, Tim. I don't care. I really don't care. I feel like you can advance in this tournament regardless of whether you're playing the first 4 at home or you're not playing any at home, because I've seen teams do it. My case would be that we're in the toughest conference in the country, and if we do beat Nebraska, we'll have beaten everybody in the league. And the team that might win it, we beat them twice. And so it'd be hard to say that Wisconsin should have that when we're 2-0 against Wisconsin, and they've won 1 more match during the course of the season than we have. So, but I don't care. I think the committee lately has done a really good job of seeding and selecting teams and making decisions. So I'm going to trust that they'll do the right thing, and I don't know if we deserve it or not, to be honest with you. It's really, really tough after you get past Louisville and Texas. I think it's really tough on who the next couple teams would be that would host a regional.
Coach, it will have been almost exactly 2 months when you play Indiana since you've played them earlier in the season.
Yeah.
As you've been looking at them on film, has anything about them changed since you played them back in September that you'll have to prepare for?
Yeah, I think they're a lot better, especially the match I just watched. I watched both their matches from this past weekend. They were good against Iowa. They were not as good against Illinois. They were swept by Illinois, and then they swept Iowa. But they've made plenty of changes. I think when we played them the last time, as you mentioned, 2 months, for a guy my age, that's a long time to think back on. I'd have to watch it on tape. But I think that they were using 1 setter for the most part, and may have gone to 2 during that match at Indiana, which means if you're using 1 setter, your setter's going to play in the front row for 3 rotations, and that can limit you a little bit offensively, but it also allows a setter to try to score some points from that position. Now they're running pretty much a 6-2, it's called, where they've always got 3 hitters in the front row, big physical hitters, and it makes it difficult to defend them, providing they're passing the ball to target. Their serve-receive is a little bit better than it was. I think that was a problem when we played them that night. They didn't pass serve very well, and I think that clearly that's something that every team is working on during the course of the season. I think the win over Iowa and knowing that they can come in here and ruin our season to some extent will be great motivation for them, and I'm sure our team will do our very best to guard against that. I mean, it's nice when you're playing a team that people think you might be in a trap game situation, if there is such a thing. It's your biggest rival. It's your in-state rival. It's Indiana. that you're going to play. And we have a lot of players, if you check our roster, from the state of Indiana. So there's no way we're taking that lightly. That has to be something to catapult us into whatever is next. And we have to continue to keep playing better. But a really good question.
From a rotation standpoint, what does it do for your kind of flexibility to be able to switch between Trammell and Colvin at a middle blocker?
I love it. I absolutely love it that we've got 3 really good middles. Last year we only had 2 on our roster, so we couldn't have subbed if we wanted to unless I was going to take another position person and put it in that spot. It's been great motivation for both of them. I think right now Taylor Trammell is giving us more than she ever has before. It's changed who she is as a player. I should have gotten her in earlier yesterday than I did because she's just been really, really good in practice. So both of them can change. They're both a little bit different. I would say that most nights Raven's better offensively. She probably has a little more confidence from our setter and getting her the ball more frequently, where Taylor is a more seasoned blocker. I'm obviously second leading blocker in the Big Ten. So people would kind of, I mean, I'm sure I'm being criticized on both sides of that. Everybody thinks one of them should be playing, and they're both not playing. But yet J.L. Johnson's playing at the premier point of her career and doing a great job. So it's a great luxury to have, to be able to start one and know that when things start to get a little tough, just to make that change, which is huge in volleyball. You know, you're limited on how many subs you can make. It's not basketball or football where you can just run them in and out all day long. You know, you get 15 total substitutions, and you can only go on for the same person. So you're limited to what you can do. But having that sub that you're talking about, it does provide us with that impetus at times to do something different and give us a lift.
And then senior day this weekend, can you talk about kind of the impact the senior class has had on this program and kind of watching them develop over the course of the years?
Yeah, of course, you've got 2 different groups. Last year's senior class, which we've already talked about, Caitlin and Jenna, who have grown tremendously also this season. But then you have the 5 seniors who will have their day on Friday. And talented, certainly they're talented. But what they've brought to the table here has been work ethic, cohesion, leadership, every day giving us all that they've got. And they have absolutely helped raise the culture of our program. They've raised the level of play in this program. You know, we're not talking very often about competing for a Big Ten championship the last week of the season. I wish we were, but it's a tough league. And traditionally there's 3 or 4 teams that are kind of in that boat. And it's great to be in that category this year. But I think that's a salute to those 5 that you're talking about, that they've really competed, and they'll do everything they can this week to try to make that happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.